All right. Well, welcome to Rocky Mountain ASTA's October virtual supplier meetup. This month, we are joined by Barbara Davis from Victory Cruise Lines, the Great Lakes cruise line, and many thanks to Lisa Hale on our team for helping to put this together. And thank you, Barbara, for joining us. I'll go ahead and hand it over to you and tell us all about Victory.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and you should be seeing it now. Let's see, share my screen anyways. Here we go. You should be seeing my screen. I think you do. See a couple heads nodding there. Perfect. So first, let me introduce myself. I am Barbara Davis, Director of Sales with Victory Cruise Lines. I have participated in Rocky Mountain ASTA events for a few years now, and it's very exciting for me to be back on the waters under the Great Lakes and the brand Victory Cruise Lines. So let's get into the conversation about Victory, and if you have questions, we can always address them at the end of the presentation. But moving forward, let's start with where we sail to and kind of the big picture for Victory. So we only sail on the Great Lakes and a little bit of the Canadian Maritimes. That's currently what we're operating, and we only operate from April through October. So it's a very niche product to offer for your clients. And obviously the Great Lakes, that's going to be the time to sail there. And like, some of our advisors and clients don't even realize that this is a product that is out there and that people can sail the Great Lakes. So having that opportunity and being one of very few who do this is a really cool experience for your clients. The other thing that I'll mention while you're looking at this beautiful shot of downtown Chicago and Navy Pier is that we are the only cruise line that is allowed to dock at Navy Pier. So it makes for a really cool embarkation or disembarkation process as well. All right, so let's talk about inclusions first, and then we'll get into ship details and itineraries and all that good stuff, because it's important to make sure you know the value of what you're selling to your clients, because we are a little bit more of a higher ticket price item. So let's talk about everything that's included with their voyage fare. And I say voyage fare, but we actually start off before the cruise with one included pre-cruise hotel night. So they will be able to arrive into the destination and you'll get their airfare. We don't sell airfare. We just do the cruise and the pre-night. So they'll arrive into the destination, make their own way to the pre-cruise hotel. And then once they are there, they will check in with the hotel front desk for their room, but then they will also check in with our Victory Cruise Lines concierge desk. And that's where they will receive their welcome packet that has luggage tags in it. It tells them about the porterage of their luggage and how we take that directly from their room and place it into their stateroom. Breakfast vouchers are included the next day. And then the transfer from the hotel to the ship is included as well. And then at the end of the cruise, we also include the post-cruise airport transfer. So you get an idea from the hotel types that are listed on your screen here, including the fact that we will stay at the Sable on Navy Pier. So again, very cool experience for clients doing that. So that's the first inclusion. Moving on from there, we have our signature cuisine on board in all of our restaurants. There is main dining kind of room and another signature restaurant that I'll share with you. But just know that if any of your clients have any special dietary needs, whether it's vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, gluten-free, we can accommodate all dietary types with the exception of kosher. And there are no surcharges in any of our restaurants, not just to dine at them, but also for specialty items. So if we have lobster on the menu, that's going to be included. So again, everything is included by way of all of the meals. The other thing that we have is all of the beverages. So unlimited beverage, there's a really extensive list of local craft beers as well as regular domestic beers and whatnot. Wine, spirits, cocktails, mocktails, specialty coffee and tea. And then every guest receives a souvenir refillable metal bottle, a pretty good size one too. And it's engraved with their name on it. And they can utilize that at our hydration station. So we don't use single-use plastic water bottles on board, so everyone will get that metal bottle, and they can use all the filtered water that they want from our stations on board as well. So all beverages included here. We have an extensive enrichment program. So we have what's called a Lake Lorian. That is our resident historian on the lake. And we've actually partnered with the National Museum of the Great Lakes to ensure that our Lake Lorians are providing really accurate and authentic presentations specific to the area in which we're sailing around the Great Lakes. So that's part of what we do during the daytime, let's say, with our enrichment programs, and sometimes into the evening as well. But really into the evening, we have live entertainment on board. I would say that our entertainment is a three-piece band, more of kind of a lounge act style entertainment. It's not Broadway caliber shows or anything like that. It's truly just more like lounge entertainment. There is a dance floor, so if people wanted to dance, they could certainly do that as well. But that'll take place every evening, and it's often themed. So if we're in Detroit, we might have more of a Motown vibe that night. So it just varies depending on where we're at. Okay, the other thing we include is Wi-Fi. So we have Starlink on board the vessel, and all internet, including high-speed streaming, is included in 2026. So there's no add-on packages. There's not a limit to the number of devices that they can use. So complimentary Wi-Fi to stay connected. So that's a great value there as well. We also include shore excursions in every port of call. Now, this slide is a little bit busy, so I want you to focus on the left side first. And so that covers our included shore excursions. So in every port of call, so not our embarkation or disembarkation, but the ports of call in between, those are going to have an included activity or admission to an attraction, and it's available for all guests. The thing to know is that guests do need to sign up for this. So you can pre-book them on the included excursions at the 60-day prior mark. The other thing that you can do is offer them their premium or immersive shore experiences. And I'm going to give you some examples of what these are, because they're different levels and depths of what they do. But again, those will be commissionable to you at the 60-day prior mark. So again, really 3 different shore experiences, but always an included tour. And oftentimes they can do the included tour and a premium or immersive experience. So they could probably double down on that as well if they'd like. All right, let's move on and talk about where to find them on the website. So under destinations, you can click on Life Ashore, and then that will bring up the shore excursions, and it will tell you whether they're included, premium, or immersive as well. Let's talk about destinations now. Let's get into really where we travel to. So here's a map of the Great Lakes and the Canadian Maritimes, and every dot you see on the map is one of the locations that we travel to. Again, we are very focused on all 5 Great Lakes. It's kind of our signature itinerary, and we're one of the only ones that hits all 5 Great Lakes almost every time. Then we have the Canadian Maritimes, and I'm going to pull these itineraries up first because we only sail here at the beginning and end of the season. So again, once we dry dock at the end of October and through April, we will then begin to reposition the ship to get into the Great Lakes. So we'll offer a Portland, Maine to Quebec or to Toronto. And then at the end of the season, we'll do the reverse. And then we'll also have a Montreal to Portland experience as well. So again, that's really just kind of a handful of voyages a year. Your bread and butter is going to be the all 5 Great Lakes itinerary, which is Chicago to Toronto or reverse. So really these itineraries often operate, I should say, about 70% of the time. And the 2 ships just kind of continue to do this exact itinerary back and forth. No change to ports of call. It's exactly the same. And again, this is the signature itinerary for you. So when people ask me, which way should I recommend sailing? Should it be Chicago to Toronto or Toronto to Chicago? What I tell people is that it really only comes down to 2 things. Where do you want to spend your pre-cruise hotel night? Do you want to stay in Chicago at Navy Pier or in Toronto, right on the harbor? Or do you want to see the Mackinac Island Bridge and sail under it at sunrise or sunset? It's really exactly the same. So again, this is your signature itinerary. There is a slightly different version of this offered a couple of times in 2026, and it's Milwaukee to Toronto or reverse, but also still a 9-night itinerary with the same ports of call in between. And then there's a longer version of this. So for your clients who may have more times on their hands, we can do an 11-night, which is Chicago to Montreal reverse, or a 13-night, which is Chicago to Quebec City or reverse. So if they have a little bit more time and they want to get a little bit of a French Canadian flair and do the Seaway, they can certainly do that extension as well. Then we have a round trip Chicago itinerary. So this is a 14-night voyage, but it spends about a week up in Lake Superior. One of the things that I'll mention is new for 2026 is that we've taken this itinerary and we have split it into 2 7-night voyages. So Chicago to Thunder Bay with more ports up in Lake Superior, or the reverse itinerary is going to be Thunder Bay to Chicago with more focus on Lake Michigan and seeing sites like Green Bay and so forth. Okay, those are the itineraries for 2026. Let me walk you through that signature itinerary so you really understand what's included excursions are and what the premium and immersive experiences are. We're going to start off as if we're in Toronto, sailing towards Chicago. So they're going to embark on the ship. Now, by the way, we do have pre and post cruise premium tours. You can sell them. They are commissionable. So if they decided to do a pre-cruise tour, it will pick up right from the hotel. They'll do the tour and then it will end at the ship for embarkation. So they don't need an additional transfer. The actual tour will take them directly there. And the same with the post-cruise transfer. They would do the tour and then go right to the airport. All right, so let's say we sail off about 5 p.m. from Toronto. We will cross Lake Ontario, and just after dinner time, we will get to the entrance of the Welland Canal. And the Welland Canal is a series of 8 locks that we traverse through. These locks are pretty massive. We've got cargo freighters on here. And so depending on traffic, it could take us all night to transit through the 8 locks of this canal. When we end up in the morning on the other side, we will be in Port Colborne. You can see from these photos where those 2 cargo ships are at the mouth of the canal here. That's exactly essentially where we dock. So we dock in Port Colborne and we have our included tour to Niagara Falls. So we visit Niagara Falls from the Canadian side, which is the most impressive viewing, but that included tour, we'll take them past American Falls, Bridal Veil Falls, and right up into Horseshoe Falls. So again, that's included. So they could do that in the morning and then do a premium experience afterwards. We actually have a tour that will include the same normal tour, but then they can also go behind the falls itself and do the visit to the tunnels behind the falls, and then visit a vineyard for, you know, wine paired lunch and so forth. We also have our stop in Cleveland next. And in Cleveland, we actually dock right to the right of where this photo is taken. So that building in front of you on the screen, that white building that's kind of wonky shaped, that is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then just in front of the ship where we dock, just out of sight of this picture, is the Browns football stadium. So really cool downtown location. But our included excursion here is to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So guests can sign up for any of the times where we transfer them over to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They'll have about 2.5 hours to explore. I always recommend people start at the top and work their way down. It's easier to do that, all 6 floors. And then they would have time to do a premium experience. We have a culture and art tour that visits the Botanical Gardens and the Museum of Art, Crawford Auto Aviation Museum, and then Lakeview Cemetery, which is where President Garfield's memorial is located. And then we also have another premium, this one's actually my favorite, that goes out to the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. And so people, if they are National Park stamp collectors, they can certainly do that there. And then we visit the Stan Hewitt Hall, which is a beautiful Tudor mansion. It's actually once co-owned by the Goodyear Tire family. So one of the co-owners there is responsible for that gorgeous building, and the gardens there are absolutely lovely. So that's just an example of a premium in Cleveland. In Detroit, we actually dock right here in the right side of the screen. You can see there's a jetty that kind of comes out, a little pier. And so that is where we dock, right in the heart of Detroit. And obviously being in Motor City, everything is really focused around Henry Ford. So our included excursion is to the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation and Greenfield Village. So in 2026, we've put on Greenfield Village. It's no longer a premium, so that's going to be part of the everyday staple where they can see yesteryear and all the inventions that have made America so great. Okay, in addition to that, we have a premium experience. This is something curated just for the Victory guests. We've actually partnered with Cranbrook University, and we have kind of an architectural tour behind the scenes of the buildings that Frank Lloyd Wright has created. So if people are into architecture, that's a great tour for them to take. And then in addition to that, with our partnership with the National Museum of the Great Lakes, we have an early morning tour that departs to have breakfast on board the Schoonamaker Museum ship in the officers' dining room. And then we go behind the scenes of the museum down into the archives with the curator. So it's a very unique look at everything the museum has to offer that regular guests do not get to see. Okay, moving on from that, we will have a cruising day on Lake Huron, and then we will enter the Sioux Locks. There's one lock that we traverse through to get into Lake Michigan, Lake Superior. So we will do a kind of a scenic sailing around Lake Superior for an hour or two, and then we'll come back through the locks and dock in Sault Ste. Marie. So Sault Ste. Marie is a quaint, charming town. There's some great fudge here. I think almost some of it is better than the fudge in Mackinac Island, but don't, if you're a Mackinac Island fan, don't shoot me for saying that. Our Sault Ste. Marie included excursion is the best of the Sioux. So we visit the Sioux Locks Visitor Center and the observation platform. There's the LSU Freshwater Research Foundation there. And then you also have the Valley Camp Museum, which is an old cargo freighter that's been converted into a maritime museum. And we, of course, bring people downtown to go shopping. There's some really cute stores that are here. And like I said, a fudge shop or two as well. The immersive experience here takes you along the shore of Lake Superior for some beautiful sights. You can actually get your feet in the water of Lake Superior, collect some of those really cool rocks that they have along the shore. If you're lucky, you'll get one of those Yooper rocks. The Yooper lights is what they call them. So that's another insider thing. We can always talk about that after the fact. But then we go to Mackinac Island. So Mackinac Island, if you're not familiar, is a very unique destination. It has no vehicles on the island. Everyone gets around by horse-drawn carriage or by foot or by bicycle. It's only about 8 miles all the way around the island itself, so somebody could certainly do that if they wanted to rent a bike. We have the benefit of actually docking at the pier in Mackinac Island. So you literally, your clients will be about 225 to 250 steps from the ship to that main part of town, of course, depending on their stride. So that's going to be really easy access into Mackinac, where our competition has to tender in from outside the bay, as you can see. So also, our included tour here is the horse-drawn carriage ride through the national park. We visit Arch Rock, and then we provide them with a self-guided tour access to the Grand Hotel. And if you know what movie was filmed at the Grand Hotel, put it in the chat. Maybe I got a good surprise for you later. But anyways, let's move on from Mackinac Island itself. Oh, I'm sorry. We've got the premium experience. We can't talk about the Grand Hotel and not talk about the premium luncheon that takes place at the Grand, a very well-established event with mountains of food and pastries. So again, if clients wanted to certainly do that, they can, or they can walk back into town after they see the Grand and just have something local or come back on board. Okay, the next port is Escanaba. This is a quaint, charming port. Escanaba itself is going to be one of those stops where we only do a half day. The other ports are all full days, but Escanaba next year will only be a half day. Now, we have a tour that goes to Sandpoint Lighthouse and the 2 museums that are in the town itself, which really focus on the military history of the area. But one of my favorite tours to do, and the pictures don't do it justice, I promise you, is our Michigan Forestry and Maple Syrup tour. So you drive out into kind of the forest, and one of the gentlemen from Michigan State University, who actually leads the program, as you see in these photos, this very casual gentleman here, he jumps off of his pickup truck off the side of the road, jumps onto the motor coach, and starts talking to us as we drive through the forest area and explains the process of what they do for MSU and their Forestry Research Center. And then by the time you get to their center, he's talking about how they tap the trees to get the maple syrup out of them. And then, of course, there's a tasting, and there is a small gift shop you can buy some stuff in as well. And they will ship home, I do say that. So that's one of my favorite tours that are there. Okay, last port of call on this itinerary is Milwaukee. We have a city tour that's part of the included excursion. And then from a premium experience, there is a visit to the Harley-Davidson store and headquarters. So that's going to be there. And then if they wanted to do something a little bit more involved, they could certainly do the culinary walking tour. So our immersive experience is a walking tour, which includes the public market and so forth. And then they would disembark in Chicago. Now, I mentioned that there are post-cruise tours as well. So post-cruise and also pre-cruise is the Chicago Architectural Cruise on the river. So if they wanted to do this, they can add that on with us, and we'll take them directly from the ship to the tour and then return them to the airport so they can fly home. Or again, and if they do it pre-cruise, we'll take them on the tour and drop them off at the ship for embarkation. There's also one other immersive experience that we offer pre-cruise, and this is another architectural tour where we kind of do a walk in Frank Lloyd Wright's footsteps and see the Rookery building and Unity Temple and some of his wonderful architecture that he has in this great city. All right, so that is a walk through the signature itinerary. Let me take you through the ships real quick. We have 2 ships. They are sister ships, identical deck plans. They're 25 years young, so we can't change the bones, but we can certainly keep her renovated on the inside. And I always tell advisors, when you sell Victory Cruise Lines, you're not selling the ship. What you're selling is the experience, the destination, and the uniqueness of that. And so when you look at our ships, they're very intimate, only 190 guests on board, and they're 100% ocean view staterooms, so no inside cabins there. Here's a look at the coastal dining room, which is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. At dinner time, it's open seating. The doors open at 6:30, and guests can come in and request a table for 2 or a table for 8. It's up to them. No assigned times, no assigned tables. Our alternative dining restaurant is the Grill. The Grill is more casual dining by day, so breakfast and lunch casual dining with a, let's just say, buffet area. There is a made to order omelet station in the morning and all that good stuff, carving station in the evening. But when it comes to dinner, this actually turns into a reservations required restaurant. They can make reservations once they're on board, and it turns into the Tuscan Stone Grill. This is an interactive culinary experience. So guests will get an apron, they'll sit at their table, they'll have a hot stone plate, and they'll cook their protein on that hot stone plate with the assistance of our culinary team. And then they can do that as many times as they want. They just have to make a reservation. But my insider tip for you as the advisor is that the menu changes after the first 4 nights, I believe it is. So you've got one menu for the first 4 nights and then a second menu for the rest of them. So make sure they do it at least twice to get both menus on there. And then you have the Compass Lounge. So like I said earlier, this is an intimate style vessel. So when you think about it, think like a European river cruise where there's one lounge and there's one bar, and that's the hub of all the activity. So the tavern is a great place to enjoy all of those libations, somewhat of a British pub theme to it. And then we do have 2 other public spaces I want to call out. One is the spa. This is a spa treatment room, not a full service spa, but it does offer hair and nails and massage and facials. It's just in a cabin that's been converted to accommodate guests for spa treatments. And that obviously would be something they pay extra for, or they could use their onboard credit towards. There is also a fitness center on board. So if guests want to partake in that, they certainly can do that as well. There's also plenty of space to soak up that vitamin D. I will say that the sun deck is the only deck inaccessible by an elevator. So we have an elevator to all floors with the exception of this. So they would have to walk up exactly 15 steps to get to the sun deck itself. And there's plenty of open areas as well as some shaded areas with lots of different furniture. They can enjoy cornhole boards if they wanted to play cornhole while they're up there and so forth. But again, that's a good look at the ship. Now, the actual staterooms are a really easy sell because at a quick glance, you can see they almost all look identical. But I want to call out a few idiosyncrasies to you to help you sell. So we have 2 owner's suites. Now, I said that our ship is 100% ocean view staterooms. We do not have private balconies, but what we do have is a semi-private balcony in the owner's suite. There are 2 of them that are forward, and I say semi-private because they share kind of that forward area of the ship. As you can see from this photo that I took, there is a staircase that runs between the 2 sides of the vessel. That staircase is only for the captain or pilot to utilize, coming from crew quarters up to the pilot house. So guests would not be utilizing that staircase at all, but it's sectioned off for them. And there are some amenities, as you can see, that come along with the owner's suites, including a $250 per person shipboard credit and laundry service and specialty dining. The other category I want to mention is our AA. This is our club level, and the AA cabins are located on deck 4, which is an open promenade style deck. So where we have semi-private verandas in the owner's suite, the category AAs have an open veranda concept. I like to say that this really fosters a great sense of community with the fellow travelers. So they have a dedicated chair and table outside their stateroom, but they'll enter their stateroom from that exterior door. So there's not access from an inside hallway. It's always going to be you come up to deck 4, walk outside onto that promenade style deck, and then enter into the stateroom from that exterior door. The club level amenities are also included with these category AAs, including the $250 per person shipboard credit. Okay, the rest of the categories almost all look the same except for one other one, and that is the category A that are aft. So there's actually 4 category A's. 2 are forward, so you can kind of see them up here, 303 and 304, and then 2 of them I've highlighted on the aft of the ship. Those are 349 and 350, and that's what's pictured here. So if you have someone who wants more elbow room and a more modern bathroom, these 2 cabins, only 349 and 350, have that curved shape to it, which also allows for a larger bathroom as well. And then just watch your bedding. Some of them are fixed and cannot be converted from a true queen or 2 twins to a queen. So just make sure you check with us on that. And then lastly, we do have 2 connecting staterooms. So category C has 2 connecting staterooms, but keep in mind, everything we do is based on double occupancy. And lastly, I'll just mention an insider tip. This aft area of deck 2, it looks like a gray C or a sideways U. That is going to be a crew storage area. There's no obstruction of any view here, but when guests look out their 2 huge windows that they have, it's not going to be right up against the end of the ship. There's going to be kind of a storage area below that window line, and the crew will utilize that to keep their ropes that we tie off on when we're in, any of the locks or the ports. Okay, lastly, I'm going to cover sales resources, but I have to take a quick drink because I'm going to cough, so hang on a second. Excuse me for that. Okay, so sales resources. First and foremost, the first question I usually get asked is, where do I find the right client for Victory Cruise Lines? And I always tell people that you just need to look in your existing database. If you have anyone who's done a European river cruise, small ship luxury cruise, or even some soft entry into adventure or expedition cruising, that is our client demographic. Those are going to be baby boomers, well-traveled, well-educated. Again, they're looking to stay a bit closer to home, but more affluent as well. And I say more affluent because our average booking is about $15,000. Our entry price point is around $5K a person, but that also means your average commission is around $1,800. So a nice high ticket item for you. For your single travelers, we love singles. We do a reduced single supplement of 150% on 4 out of the 6 stateroom categories. All right, so what didn't I tell you? What are the additional costs? Well, we talked about premium and immersive experiences as well as the spa. There's 2 other things. Gratuities are $18.50 per person per day. And then we do offer travel insurance through Arch Roamrite. What's unique about our partnership with Arch Roamrite is that we provide you with a quote and we give you a link, and that link will take you to our partnered site with them to finish the transaction. But that is where you can increase the amount of coverage based on the airfare that you're getting for them. Because remember, we don't do airfare. So if you wanted that to be included, that's where you can utilize that. And it is commissionable for you to sell that travel insurance as well. Okay. Lastly, we want to make sure that you're receiving our communications. So make sure you're registered on agents.victorycruiselines.com. This is our agent resource center. It is just a resource center. It is not a booking engine at this time. That's coming. We're actually working on an enhancement to the entire portal. But for now, this is just a resource center. And if your agency is not registered to sell us, this is also where you would go to click on agency registration and become a seller of travel with Victory Cruise Lines. Lastly, I'll just mention our current offer is our savings up to $3,600 per stateroom and voyages starting at $49.99. We are currently open for sale through 2026. In about another month, we should have 2027 open for sale as well. And with that, I've put up our phone number to reservations on the screen, 812-VICTORY. So right now you do have to call in to make those bookings, as well as the Agent Resource Center listed here for you, and my contact information, because if you have any questions, you are welcome to reach out to me directly. I'm very reachable, not just via email, but you can always text that number on there. That's my cell phone as well. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Jeff and see if we have any questions.
Awesome. Well, we don't have it. Thank you so much, Barbara. We don't have any questions in the chat, although my family's from Michigan and I've spent a lot of time on Mackinac Island, so I knew it was somewhere in time.
Yes.
And then Robin followed up as well that it was Jane Seymour and Christopher Reeves. So
there we go. Perfect.
Stay at the Grand Hotel, but I have had my share of horses.
Yes.
On that.
So
and the fudge.
Yes.
You can't do Mackinac without the fudge.
Exactly.
Sherry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sherry.
Hi there. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. You had just mentioned that the resource center. And when I first booked my clients, I got great communication. All of the agents were just so wonderful to talk to. And we got them paid in full. But after that, I did not receive any communications. And okay. I had actually been told not to go on to that center because it didn't work. And so no, I did not.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they would have told you not to go into it. The Agent Resource Center really contains just sales and marketing collateral and training material. Okay. But there's nothing specific to clients' voyages on there. So maybe that's why they were saying, don't go there because there's nothing there for your client's voyage, like, packing list or, things like that. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say that. But yeah, you are certainly welcome. It's been up and running for, I don't know, since November of last year. Yep. That you can go in and utilize any collateral there.
Okay. Yeah. So should I be receiving information for my clients up until the voyage?
You should be receiving communications at the 60-day prior mark. We send an email out that says, here's the shore excursions that are open. And then you should receive the e-documents about 30 days prior. I will say that this year being our inaugural sailing season, some of those emails were manually driven. So that is currently part of that shift that we're making. Once we get the portal kind of up and running with booking engine, then everything will become automatic versus somebody manually sending it.
Okay, maybe I'll text you about that because
yeah, sure.
I don't think I have anything on that. So
okay. Yeah, please reach out to me. If you're not receiving our promotional emails as well, like the ones that have here's the current promo or the weekly specials or whatnot, then definitely let's chat because it means you're not signed up somewhere or maybe there's a glitch. So
okay, let's do that.
Okay, sounds good, Sherry.
Yeah. All right, got a couple more comments and questions. Peggy with Travel X Tribe says, this does look like a great option for older age clients who don't want to do long haul flights, but can still get that river cruise experience closer to home.
That is 100%. And I think that's why I always say, start with your existing database. Those who've been there and done that with the European river cruises, but now want to stay closer to home, certainly an option. And if people wanted to drive, I mean, that 14-night round trip Chicago would make an easy drive part of that component, unless they wanted to do the one way and drive through Canada as well. That's certainly an option.
Elisa asks, is there a dress code for dinner?
Yeah, good question. So we have a country club casual dress code on board. So there is no formal attire at all. And by country club casual dress code, I mean in the dining room at dinner, gentlemen would need maybe a pair of Dockers and a polo or a button down. The other thing that I'll say is we just had this conversation about dress code recently, and we've updated the dress code to include designer jeans are okay in the dining room at dinner. So again, it's more casual. It's certainly not any sequins and tuxedos. So
Cool. Rob says, club amenities were mentioned. What are the club amenities offered?
yeah, so great question. So club amenities include 2 bags of laundry service during the voyage. Oh, my screen just flashed. Are you guys still there? Okay. Okay, sorry, my whole screen just went black for a second. So 2 bags of laundry service, the $250 per person shipboard credit. It includes a dinner in, or I should say an event in the grill with the other club level member guests. I can send you a printout of what those inclusions are. In fact, I can pause my screen and go back and show you as well, but it's just a handful of amenities, and know that the owner's suite received those, and then the AA gets the laundry service, the shipboard credit, and the special event. So that's the big difference. So yep.
Okay. And then one more question in the chat is also from Rob. Are there any pre or post excursions offered on the Toronto side of the cruise?
Yeah, great question. So we do offer pre or post in Toronto. There is a tour that goes to Casa Loma, which I always like to joke and say that's my other house. It's a beautiful castle that you can visit and tour. And then there's also a tour that visits the Hockey Hall of Fame and does like a city tour as well. So yes, there are tours in Toronto that can be done. And if they're doing one of the voyages that, let's say, is Chicago to Montreal, and Toronto is a port of call, there will be an included tour in Toronto as well, the city tour, so to speak. So yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Darlene just said excellent presentation. So thanks for the
Thank
feedback.
you. All right.
Sherry, you have your hand raised again?
Yes, just one last question. Just wondering, are there any king beds available or just the queens?
Just the queen. So the owner's suite has the queen, and some of the regular staterooms also have true queens also in inventory as well. So
Excellent. Any other questions for Barbara? Very nice. Well, Barbara, thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about Victory today. And I'm excited to see that you go to Mackinac and
yes.
Nicole, call it my family.
All right.
Cool.
Folks. Thanks for having me today. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.